Hello, I'm Janthi Arang, and now I would read the chapter Choose Kind. There was a lot of shuffling around when the bell rang and everybody got up to leave. I checked my schedule and it said my next class was English, room 321. I didn't stop to see if anyone else from my homeroom was going my way. I just zoomed out of the class and down the hall and sat down as far from the front as possible. The teacher, a really tall man with a yellow beard, was writing on the chalkboard. Kids came in laughing and talking in little groups, but I didn't look up. Basically, the same thing that happened in homeroom happened again. No one sat next to me except for Jack, who was joking around with some kids who were in our homeroom. I could tell Jack was the kind of kid other kids liked. He had a lot of friends. He made people laugh. When the second bell rang, everyone got quiet and the teacher turned around and faced us. He said his name was Mr. Brown, and then he started talking about what we would be doing this semester. At a certain point, somewhere between a wrinkle in time and a shun of the sea, he noticed me but kept right on talking. I was mostly doodling in my notebook while he talked, but every once in a while I would sneak a look at the other students. Charles was in the class. So were Julian and Henry. Miles wasn't. Mr. Brownie has written on the chalkboard in big block letters, Precept. Okay, everybody write this down at the very top of the very first page in your English notebook. As we did what he told us to do, he said, okay, so who can tell me what a precept is? Does anyone know? No one raised their hands. Mr. Brownie smiled, nodded, and turned around to write on the chalkboard again. Precepts, rules about really important things. Like a motto? Someone called out. Like a motto, said Mr. Brown, nodding as he continued writing on the board. Like a famous quote, like a line from a fortune cookie. Any saying or round rule that can motivate you. Basically, a precept is anything that helps guide us when making decisions about really important things. He wrote all that on a chalkboard and then turned around and faced us. So, what are some really important things? He asked us. A few kids raised their hands, and as he pointed at them, they gave their answers, which he wrote on the chalkboard in really, really sloppy handwriting. Rules, schoolwork, homework. What else? He said as he wrote, not even turning around. Just call things out. He wrote everything everyone called out. Families, parents, pets. One girl called out the environment. He wrote on the chalkboard and added our world. Sharks, because they eat dead things in the ocean, said one of the boys. A kid named Ray and Miss Brown wrote down sharks, bees, seatbelts, recycling, friends. Okay, said Mr. Brown, writing all those things down. He turned around when he finished writing to face us again, but no one's named the most important thing of all. We looked at him, our ideas. God, said one kid, and I could tell that even though Mr. Brownie wrote God down, that wasn't the answer he was looking for. Without saying anything else, he wrote down who we are. Who we are. He said, underlining each word as he stated, who we are, us, right? What kind of people are we? What kind of person are you? Isn't that the most important thing of all? Isn't that the kind of question we should be asking ourselves all the time? What kind of person am I? Did anyone happen to notice the plaque next to the door of this school? Anyone read what it says? Anyone? We looked around but no one knew the answer. It says, note thyself. He says, smiling and nodding, and learn who you are is what you're here to do. I thought we were here to learn English. Jack cracked, which made everyone laugh. Oh yeah, and that too, Mr. Brown answered, which I thought was very cool of him. He turned around and wrote in big, huge block letters that spread all the way across the chalkboard. Mr. Brownie's September precept. When even the choice between being right or being kind, choose kind. Okay, so everybody, he said, facing it again, I want you to start a brand new section in your notebooks and call it Mr. Brown's precepts. Keep talking as we did what he was telling us to do. Put today's date at the top of the first page. And from now on, at the beginning of every month, I'm going to write a new Mr. Brown precept on the chalkboard and you're going to write it down in your notebook. There are going Then we're going to discuss that receipt and what it means. And at the end of the month, you're going to write an essay about it, about what it means to you. So by the end of the year, you'll have your own list of receipts to take away with you. Over the summer, I've asked all my students to come up with their very own personal receipts. Write it on the postcard and mail it to me from it whenever you go on your summer vacation. People really do that? Said one girl whose name I didn't know. Oh yeah, he answered. People really do that. I've had students send me new receipts years after they've graduated from this school. Actually, it's pretty amazing. He paused and stroked his beard. But anyway, next summer seems like a long way off. I know. He joked, which made us laugh. So everybody relax a bit while I take attendance. And then we're finished with that. It's start telling you about all the fun stuff we're going to be doing this year in English. He pointed to Jack when he said this, which is also funny. So we all laughed at that. As I wrote down Mr. Brown's September visit, I suddenly realized that I was going to like school, no matter what.
My name is Nguyễn Hành Duy, and this is chapter 18 of the novel Wonder Lunch. Vera had warned me about lunch in middle school, so I guess I should have known it would be hard. I just hadn't expected it to be this hard. Basically, all the kids from the 5th grade classes poured into the cafeteria at the same time, talking loudly and bumping into one another while they ran to different tables. One of the lunchroom teachers said something about no seat saving allowed, but I didn't know what she meant, and maybe no one else did either, because just about everybody was saving seats for their friends. I tried to sit down at one table, but the kid in the next chair said, "Oh, sorry, but somebody else is sitting here." So I moved to an empty table and just waited for everyone to finish stampeding and the lunchroom teachers to tell us what to do next. As she started telling us the cafeteria rules, I looked around to see where Jack Will was sitting, but I didn't see him on my side of the room. Kids were still coming in as the teacher started calling the first few tables to get their trays and stand on line at the counter. Julian, Henry, and Miles were sitting at a table toward the back of the room. Mom had packed me a cheese sandwich, graham crackers, and a juice box, so I didn't need to stand on line while my table was called. Instead, I just concentrated on opening my backpack, pulling out my lunch bag, and slowly opening the aluminum foil wrapping of my sandwich. I could tell I was being stared at without even looking up. I knew that people were nudging each other, watching me out of the corners of their eyes. I thought I was used to those kind of stares by now, but I guess I wasn't. There was one table of girls that I knew were whispering about me because they were talking behind their hands. Their eyes and whispers kept bouncing over to me. I hate the way I eat. I know how weird it looks. I had a surgery to fix my cleft palate when I was a baby, and then a second cleft surgery when I was 4. But I still have a hole in the roof of my mouth. And even though I had a jaw alignment surgery a few years ago, I have to chew food in front of my mouth. I didn't realize how this looked until I was at a birthday party once, and one of the kids told the mom of the birthday boy he didn't want to sit next to me because I was too messy, with all the food crumbs shooting out of my mouth. I know the kid wasn't trying to be mean, But he got in big trouble later, and his mom called my mom that night to apologize. When I got home from the party, I went to the bathroom mirror and started eating a salt, saltine cracker to see what I looked like when I was chewing. The kid was right. I eat like a tortoise. If you have ever seen a tortoise eating like some prehistoric swamp thing, the summer table. Hey, is this it? Taken. I look up, and a girl I never saw before was standing across my table with a lunch tray full of food. She had long wavy brown hair and wore a brown T-shirt with a purple peace sign on it. No, I said. She put her lunch tray on the table, plopped her backpack on the floor, and sat down across from me. She started to eat the mac and cheese on her plate. Ugh, she said after the swallowing the first bite. I should have brought a sandwich like you did. Yeah, I said, nodding. August, cool, she said. Summer. Another girl came over to the table, carrying a tray. Why are you sitting here? Come back to the table. It was too crowded. Summer answered her. Come sit here, there's more room. The other girl looked confused for a second. I realized she had been one of the girls I had caught looking at me just a few minutes earlier, hand cupped over her mouth, whispering. I guess Summer had been. Never mind, said the girl, leaving. Summer looked at me, shrugged, smiled, and took another bite of her mac and cheese. Hey, our name kind of match, she said as she chewed. I guess she could tell I didn't know what she meant. Summer, August, she said, smiling, her eyes open wide as she waited for me to get it. Oh yeah, I said after a second. We can make this the summer-only lunch table, she said. Only kids with summer name can sit here. Let's see, is there anyone here named June or July? There's a Maya, I said. Technically, May is spring, Summer answered, but if she wanted to sit here, we could make an exception. She said it as if she'd actually thought the whole thing through. There's Julian. That's like the name Julian. I don't say a thing. There's a kid named Red in my English class, I said. Yeah, I know Reed. But how is Reed a summer name? She asked. I don't know, I shrugged. I just pictured like a reed of glass being a summer thing. Yeah, okay. She nodded, pulling out her notebook. And Mrs. Petosa could sit here too. That kind of sound like a word, petal, which I think of as a summer thing too. I have her for her room, I said. I have her for math, she answered, making a face. She started writing the list of names on the second to last page of her book. So who else? She said. By the end of lunch, we had come up with a whole list of names of kids and teachers who could sit at our table if they wanted. Most of the names weren't actually summer names, but they were names that had some kind of connection to summer. I even found a way of making Jack Will's name working by pointing out that you could turn his name into a sentence about summer, like Jack will go to the beach, which Summer agreed worked fine. But if someone doesn't have a summer name and want to sit with us, she said very seriously, we will still let them if they are nice, okay? Okay, I nod. Even if it's a great winter named Cool Beans, she answered, giving me a thumbs up. Summer looked like her name. She had a tan and her eyes were green like a leaf.